I'm with the Alameda Corridor East Construction Authority. Our focus is in the San Gabriel Valley to build grade separations. So wherever you have train crossings, what we like to do is eliminate train delays or the added pollution from all the idle vehicles waiting for the trains to pass. So these grade separations are built based on traffic studies we do throughout the San Gabriel Valley. Baldwin Avenue happens to be one of those projects, which is something we are starting very soon. So if you can hear, this is a rendering of what you're going to see. So the bridge right there will be both a railroad bridge and a pedestrian bridge for Bessie Avenue to cross over Baldwin Avenue. So once this project is complete, as you can see, you'll have another thoroughfare from the 10 freeway to the 210 without waiting for trains. That makes it easier for traffic to flow in the area. Unfortunately, when we build these projects, there are some inconveniences. And that is Monday evening at 8 p.m., May 13th, we're going to close Baldwin Avenue from Rose Avenue to Gidley for 24 months to build this project. That is going to affect you in the sense that Temple City Boulevard is going to be a detour for Baldwin as well as Arden Drive. We are trying to suggest to most people to use Santa Anita, especially for commuters coming to the area, to go north and south. We can suggest all we want. Sometimes people can choose their own route. So we are going to be out there monitoring the traffic and trying to make adjustments as needed to help the traffic flow in the area. It so happens that when we build these projects, one of our constraints of why it takes so long to build a project is that we're building a project on railroad right-of-way. So it's railroad property. We don't work with the railroad, we're just a government agency to help make it a safety corridor for different communities in San Gabriel Valley. So we have to abide by railroad rules and regulations, which also means if we're working on a railroad track and a train comes, we have to literally stop all equipment, step away from the track 20 feet, let the train pass. When it's done, then we can come back, and there is a flagman on site at all times to tell us you can go back to work. So now with 20 trains a day, 14 freight and 6 commuters, this is why it takes us a while to build this project. We would love to be able to say, stop the trains, let's build it quickly and get out of the way, but unfortunately we cannot. We have to abide by the rules. The train will pass at all times. So in order for us to build these projects, we have to build what is called a temporary shoe fly. That is a temporary track. So whether it's 15, 20 feet away from the original mainline track now, we do that so that we can build a bridge where the permanent train is going to be. Once we do that, and we build a permanent bridge, then we can remove the shoe fly and start building the underpass. The underpass is definitely what's so much faster for us. Because the street is closed, we have no limitations. At that point, we can move as fast as, we possibly can. So that portion is a lot faster. It's just the first step. So starting Monday, May 13th at 8 p.m., we're going to start the closure. And there's going to be detour signs around. We're going to definitely, like I said, suggest as many people to go through Santa Anita. And we understand that there is construction on Rosemead Boulevard, so we're going to try to be out there, monitor as best we can, get the information out to as many people as we can. So any questions, feel free to call me. That's why there's notices at the back table. I brought them in English, Spanish, and Chinese for anyone if you want different languages. There is a helpline number at the bottom on our website. I personally answer that helpline. What we like to do is all questions and concerns, we like to answer them within a 24-hour period. I also included this little magnet. Feel free to grab one, stick it on your refrigerator, because sometimes you don't know where you leave the paper, but you can always go back and say, here's the website, let's look at the progress, or a number to call and ask any questions on what's going on. So we appreciate your patience, and hopefully we can get through this as quickly as possible, but any questions or concerns, definitely give us a call. Right now, does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
It's such a crowded shade that we don't know there's not any public input into the time frame of construction. If they can retain some Article 3 will fail unless it's 6 months. I don't believe the Alameda Corridor is has done justice to the neighborhood and citizens of Temple City. That is absolutely atrocious.
All of our projects take a series of years to get started. We do an initial design plan, 25%. The cities, county, everybody approves and decides what's a project that can be built and especially maintained. When we do that, we have an environmental impact report process. So we do send out notifications to people locally to give input, and we do conduct public meetings at the design stages, because the only changes we can implement is during the design stages. Once it's 100% designed and all the cities and counties have bought off on it, it's hard to make a change at that point. But during the design phase, so we have had public meetings in the area years ago. Unfortunately, all of it is a process, and sometimes when you get a notice, our envelopes are plain white with our logo. I have a tendency, a lot of people see a mailer from us and think it's junk mail and toss it, which is unfortunate. So we try to go out there and hand deliver them sometimes when we can, but realistically, we cannot hand deliver to 10,000 people in an area. So we try to do everything we can to outreach to as many people as possible. We actually put an advertising in a newspaper that's a public meeting, but sometimes people see, oh, this is a project that might happen in my area 2 or 3 years from now. Realistically, a lot of people don't show up to these public meetings. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. If you see, oh, it's going to be 2 or 3 years from now, it doesn't bother me now. People don't show up. We try to do everything we can to get people involved from the beginning stages of our projects. So we do have these public meetings, notifications, we advertise, we do as much as we possibly can, but like I said, sometimes people just, you know, we can only respond to the people who do attend. So my apologies if we didn't get a notice on today. Any other questions?
And just in the interest of time, we appreciate Gisela coming out, and she wants to make sure that Temple City is on board and understand what's going on. But we do have a robust program tonight, and so again, in the interest of time, we're going to move forward with the program. Gisela does have her cards with her, so if anybody has any questions, she'll hand those out. And we also have the hotline, and you can also contact the city, and we will get in contact with Gisela as well. And so again, I'd like to thank her for coming out.
Hi everyone, I'm a volunteer with the Neighborhood Watch. My name is Lucy. If you signed in before I was at the table, please make sure that you come by and fill in any missing information. I have a few people who signed up without emails or without phone numbers. It's really important that we have your complete information so that we can contact you in the event of an emergency. The emails that you're going to be getting, you're not going to be bombarded. It's mainly crime waters and very important updates as to safety developments and stuff. 我讲中文，我是志工，所以需要任何协助的话可以来找我。谢谢。Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. I'm going to try not to hold this. I'm going to try to speak with it in here, but we'll see how that goes. Can everybody hear me? Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, I'm Sergeant Miranda from the Temple City team. I work at Temple Station. I've been a deputy sheriff for approximately 25 years. I have my one of my guys right here, Deputy Adam. Most of you probably know Rick Adams there. He's actually probably got more years than me.
Hi, everybody. He's actually 4 days older than I am.
Believe it or not. Okay, and we also have 2 additional team members, and that would be Deputy Alvarez and Cardella. They are currently hosting our community academy. Just out of curiosity, has anyone heard of that at all by show of hands? Okay, we, for some reason, we didn't get the word out as well as we would have liked to have. It's a great program. I'll get to that a little later. Okay, a few people I'd like to acknowledge, first of all, would be the principal of La Rosa here, Mr. Michael Lynn. I really want to thank him for allowing us to be here. We'd also like to acknowledge Council Member Mr. Chavez, Tom Chavez, right there in the back. Oh, and Mr. Bascar, excuse me, as well. Oh, right in front of me. He was a snake, would have, well, probably would have been from there, but we'll get into that. I'd also like to acknowledge some of the, Mike Baker here, our motor officer. If he is giving you a ticket, please don't take it out on him. He's just doing the job. And we should be thankful for him. Anyway, that's Deputy Baker. We also have Ramel here from the city. We have Mr. Arizumi from the city. very instrumental here in the city. And let's see here, we also have Jerry, our photographer, outstanding gentleman, puts in a lot of time here at Temple City, and he's a business owner here at Temple City. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. And we also have Freddie from the city. He's providing childcare. A couple other things we'll cover real quick. You guys all know where the food is. Help yourself as many times as you'd like. Feel free to get up there and enjoy it. The restrooms are also located in the back if you need them, and there's drinks as well. I think that pretty much covers that first half there. Okay, and the childcare is going to be in room 1 right across the way per Deputy Adams. Also, I want to point out that we have Mandarin translation here from Lucy. And Lucy, can you hold up your hand? Anybody need Mandarin translation? We're trying to accommodate everybody. Okay, and let me cover a few things that we do as a Temple City team. First of all, we work with the city very closely. We assist them with a lot of these city events, and anybody who is a resident, here at Temple City knows there is a number of events from the Chameleon Festival. In fact, let me point out Miss Fish, who is also a city employee, and instrumental in the Temple City Chameleon Festival, Very instrumental. Annette, can you raise your hand? I'm sorry. I don't do this all the time, but we got to give you.
Parks and Recreation Commissioner.
And she's also the Parks and Recreation Commissioner. Okay, that about does all my time, so I'm about to move on and pass it on that. Okay, anyway, like I said, as the Temple City team, we host a lot of events. We work closely with the city. Some of the events that we work with are going to be the Chameleon Festival, the Christmas Parade, the bike ride, the health fair. We basically provide security for those things. We do a lot of behind-the-scenes things in that regard. And like I said, we work closely with the city on any city matters as well. If the city finds any problems that are law enforcement related, then we will address them. We also handle quality of life issues. That includes everything from transients to people loitering around, drug sales, prostitution, you name it. We handle it in addition to patrolling and doing some of the other things that we do. Obviously, those are things that we're going to discuss tonight. Rick is going to do the PowerPoint, and we will see how that works. We also, obviously, we host area watch meetings. We do community academies. And that's just some, as I think of some, I'll go ahead and throw them out there. We handle investigations. We also work closely with our detective bureau on what we call workable reports. That would include reports where maybe there's a suspect scene, a vehicle scene, something to give us a little something to follow up on. In other words, those are what we call workable reports. We work closely with them regarding that, and we've solved a number of cases, actually, as a team, in regards to that, and that includes everything from burglaries to the great thing of GPSs attached to iPads and computers and things of that nature. Some of the other things we do, we have Mr. Baker, who addresses a lot of our traffic issues. I'm sure everybody has seen him here. People running stop signs, just driving maybe a little fast down their streets. Feel free to email us, and you'll see the handout that we provided for you. If you don't have one, please get one. That has our email addresses and our telephone numbers as well. And feel free to call us, let us know. We may not get to your problem immediately, because let me tell you, we have a lot of issues that we're trying to address. We try to get to all of them, and we will get to them eventually, I assure you of that. And obviously we try to prioritize the major issues. We try to deal with a little quicker than the minor ones. Okay, and some of the things that are provided here in the handout are going to be, if you can go ahead and open it real quick, are going to be, in addition to our telephone numbers and emails, we've provided a map showing how the city is broken down. And as you can see, you are area 8. The city has been broken down into 12 sections, and we do the area watches for each section. The next page would be the crime blotter. I have the pleasure of writing that weekly. It It's a very good thing. It keeps me informed. I read every report that comes through the city, so I'm well aware of what's going on in the city. At that point, I send it over to Deputy Adams, who sends it out to anybody who is a member of our area watch. And it talks about a lot of the events, not just here in Section 8, but it talks about citywide problems. That's also been translated by Lucy there in Mandarin. We also have the Neighborhood Watch program. It's got a little information there. We have some information about not being a victim, okay, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. Some of the things you'll see here are criminal description for male and female. We don't expect you to memorize this, of course, but if you see anybody suspicious or maybe commit a crime, because you just may, try to remember certain things if you can, because once again, we would call that a workable report and workable information to help us catch these people. Obviously, that's the overall goal, is catch and recover your property or whatever the situation may be. Also, we have the next page, which is vehicles. Okay, some of the things to look out for that are very important. If we get there, and I'm the first deputy on the scene, and you know, you're unfortunately the victim of some sort of a crime, the first thing a deputy should do is ask you if you saw the person, describe them. If you saw the vehicle, we put out what we call a broadcast immediately over the radio to all of the units in the area and even next door stations, because obviously we know criminals aren't going to just stay here, correct? So from there, it gives us a better chance of trying to catch them. Okay, if we keep turning the pages here, you're going to see the 211 fact sheet. Anybody familiar, everybody familiar with the 211 information? You get information from 211 on county services. Okay, take a look at that. We've also provided a city services, what the city provides service-wise. And some of the other things, shopping carts. I know with some people, these shopping carts are a big problem. Everybody has their little things that concern them. You know, it could be transients hanging out. It could be shopping carts. You know, we think they're all important. If they're important to you, they're important to us. I try to always gauge it by how I feel at my own home. I don't want to see transients. I don't want to see the shopping carts. I don't want to see those things. And my guys and myself, we feel the same way. We treat it like it's our area where we live and everything else. And we take a lot of pride in what we do. And that's why we welcome your calls and your emails for any problems you may have. Okay, some of the things that we have going on here are going to be burglaries, both residential and vehicle. Okay, that is our #1 problem here in the city. Okay, I don't want anybody to get worried when I say that, because that happens in any city where there's working people who have nice things, and you know, let's be honest, losers are going to prey on that type of environment. So if you ask anybody in any city, I assure you they're going to tell you that is the thing going on right now, is burglaries. And what we want to do is basically help you to kind of help yourselves, in addition to being there for you if you are the victim, or obviously trying to prevent any type of crimes. Now, just out of curiosity, we issue a flyer, and obviously a lot of you got that flyer, because that's why I'm sure you're here, unless it's word of mouth. But on that flyer, we put some important facts off to the right side. We've also translated that into Mandarin as well. Now, just out of curiosity, a show of hands, can you let me know who actually read that important facts on that flyer? Oh, we got a few. Okay. I should ask you to lie, actually. That's only like 6 people. That's not good. What did you, real quick, what did you think of it? Did you think it was informative or not?
Yes.
You did? Okay. How about you back there? Did you think it was informative? Okay. Those facts that I wrote down there on that side, like I told you, I read every report, and let me tell you, that's a lot of reading, okay? Because a city in general, with 35,000 people, there's going to be a lot of stuff going through. Those are some of the problems we're having. As basic as some of those things are, lock your doors and windows when you leave. If you see a vehicle that is not your neighbor's car and your neighbor's gone, what do you think you should do? Call the police. Better safe than sorry. Like I've told or I've mentioned in the past at the area watch meetings, we could have a police officer on every block in this city, and it would not help. And why is that? Because these crooks are very sophisticated. It's their job to be criminals, so they get pretty good at it. That includes things like backing up into your driveway, jumping the fence, and taking your property. A lot of times, I read it all the time. Neighbor sees a car in the driveway, think that the neighbor is possibly having visitors or workers or something of that nature. I'm not telling you to go out there and be a hero by any means. I discourage that. Give us a call. Call the station. Call the station and say there's a vehicle that looks suspicious. It does not belong here. My neighbor's gone. Can you please send a car out? We love to do that. Why? Because we catch a lot of people like that. In fact, Mrs. Chavez one day, Councilmember Chavez's wife, happened to be walking her dog when she saw some, I'll call him an idiot because that's what he is, jumps over a wash, obviously looking back, had no business being in that particular area, or fence I should say. She's kind of keeping an eye on him. Obviously she's not getting involved to the point where she's going to take independent action, but she gets to the point where she calls the police at some point because she sees another guy coming out of the backyard of a property. Turns out she interrupted a burglary. Those individuals were caught, 3 of them, and that property was recovered. But it's actions like that, and somebody just being aware of what's going on, that helps us to help you guys. And like I said, if we all work together and we all do this, then it's not a problem. Some of the other things we have are people posing as construction workers, electricians, you name it, plumbers. Hey, I'm doing some construction right across the way or right next door on the other side. I accidentally broke a water line. I need to check your backyard. Can we please go in the backyard and turn on your water and let's see if it works. Meanwhile, people generally look nice. It's their job, once again, to be criminals. People trust them. That's how we're pretty much geared, all of us. Walk outside, test the water. Meanwhile, the counterpart usually walks right in the front door, helps themselves to your property, jewelry, and everything else, and leaves. Eventually, the water's fine, of course. Walk back in the house, discover a short time later that they were victims. This happens. It's on that important facts. And just so you know, we pass out probably 500 to 800 flyers per area watch meeting. We got a great showing here, but we don't have 500 to 800 people. So I'm trying to write those little things that are going to help those people that didn't come for whatever reasons, whether they're busy schedule, they just weren't interested or what have you. So if you do talk to your neighbors or whatever, if you can let them know to at least read those things, we'd really appreciate it. Some of the other things we have are scams right now on the telephone. We've been getting quite a few of these lately, which is somebody calling, posing as a relative, posing as a family member. And unfortunately, a lot of our victims are not finding out exactly who the person is or confirming. We had one recently I just read. I was a little shocked. This person actually knew the name of this poor victim's grandson. So possibly an inside little job there. Unfortunately, to assist her grandson, thinking she was assisting her grandson, she sent about $1,700 in wired money. This happens consistently. I know we're thinking that could never happen to me. Happens consistently. I read everything. I just can't believe it, but it happens. Fumigation burglaries. Anybody ever heard of that? Can you raise your hands if you have? People who are getting their homes fumigated. Obviously, they're tented, and criminals, they've actually found these idiots before, not here in this city, other cities with masks and everything. Some of the real hardcore idiots will put something around their face and go into a home fumigated to get your property. We've had those. If you know your house is going to be fumigated, if your neighbor's home is going to be fumigated, maybe let them know, contact the station. We'll provide what we call patrol checks. That means us as a team or our guys that are patrolling can go by and just try to monitor the home. Just something that we suggest. transient problem. We try to address it by doing little operations. We try to do a lot of operations. The main one is to discourage the burglaries, whether it be undercover or extra patrol units, things of that nature, but transients. That's one of the things, and Rick will talk about that a little more with the PowerPoint, but most transients, okay, and I'm not going to say all of them, okay, are drug addicts, okay? And when you give them money, do you think they're going to leave this city? They are not, okay? And if you don't give them money, they're going to get that money somehow because they got to support their habit. So, guess how they're going to do that? Okay, they're going to burglarize. That's just what they do, okay? So, a lot of times I know we think we're helping them, but you truly are not helping them. Like I try to do, I try to give them warnings. My guys and I, we try to tell them we don't have a homeless shelter here. We try to direct them to the homeless shelters, and we try to give a warning or two before we issue the citations and start taking them to jail. Okay, but I actually was citing a person one day, I think it was Superior, it was actually Deputy Adams and I actually had a lady walk up to me, a citizen, I'll say, and asked me, why am I bothering this person? And I explained to her off to the side what we were doing. She still just didn't see it. And, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion. It kind of shocked me, but it's that type of behavior that's going to keep these types of people around here. Okay? I'm just letting you know, and like I said, unfortunately some of them do have mental illnesses, things of that nature. But once again, if we can direct it to a homeless shelter, generally they'll have things set up to try to help them. That's the best way we can help them. And you guys all know, you got to help yourself. Okay? When you're in that part of that lifestyle. Okay, some of the other things that I want to discuss briefly are putting your mail on your mailbox rather than taking it to a, what do they call a mailbox? What am I thinking? Okay, the drop. While I was handing out these flyers, I personally saw probably 5, maybe people with a paper clip on the mailbox. Identity theft is a big, big crime right now. Okay, people stealing your social, your checking account information, you name it, your name, okay? And, they're able to do things online, they're able to create documents, they're able to obtain credit cards, things of that nature. So please don't do that, help yourself. I'm trying to get through this quickly, even though it sounds a little scattered. It's because we got a lot of people that need to talk. Rick needs to do the PowerPoint. I just wanted to try to cover some of those important things for you. I'm thinking I'm pretty good. Okay, and what I miss, Deputy Adams, who's a natural at this, let me tell you, this is his thing. He will get it. And if you have any questions at the end, we will be here. Feel free to approach myself, Deputy Adams, Deputy Baker, and we'll be here for you. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron. All right, so I'm not going to stay in front of the camera. All right, so just by a show of hands, how many of you were here 14 months ago when we did your area the first time? All right, just a few. All right, good. Okay, so for the new folks, we changed the way we're doing neighborhood watch. All right, we're no longer doing block to block. We're only getting a few people, maybe 8 or 10 people showing up for our meetings. So we're reaching more people this way, and we figured if we bribed you by offering food and child care, we'd get your butts in here. And it seems to have worked pretty well so far. All right? Now, I'm not going to go through the packet because Ron already did, and just in the interest of saving time, I'm going to move right to the PowerPoint. But if you have any questions or concerns, quality of life issues, problems with your neighbors, we get that all the time. On that first page of your packet, get a hold of me first, please. You've got Brian's contact information there too. Brian Artizumi's from the city, but I'd like you to get a hold of me because I handle most of the quality of life issues. I'm able to go out there and do that because your patrol deputies, you can still call them, and we're going to tell you to call them when you need something, but they're answering calls. Sometimes call after call, they get tied up. This is kind of what we specialize in, amongst many other things that Ron already touched on with you. So please make sure you contact me. The second page of your packet your note page. It's just a page with lines on it. Some of you might have questions that we may not get to tonight. Some of you might have people you live next to that might be here, or you may not want to talk about the issues you're having. So if that's the case, write it down on a piece of paper, tear it off, and pull it out, and then give it to myself or Ron at the end of the night, or Mike Baker, and that way we can address your problem for you, okay? So we understand that. Now, before we go into the PowerPoint, we have time. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, or comments they want to point out as far as all the stuff that Ron touched on over the last 20 minutes or so? And it's okay, we have time. Jerry, yes, sir.
I'm sitting home at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a stranger I see walk up my driveway, go up to my front door, knock on it. Should I answer it or not?
Well, I would say if you don't know who it is and you're not clear, your best approach to that, you're saying 3 in the afternoon?
Yes.
Okay. Because 3 in the morning, definitely, you want to call us, right? Right? But yeah, what we're seeing a lot is we're having a lot of people that are coming through the area and they're ripping you off. Okay? We have people in our city that commit crimes, and we know most of them, and from time to time we hear about others. Now, we've got a gal who's one of our area leaders, lives on Wilmonte, and they've got gangsters hanging on the street. We just found out about it, and I don't know how long they've been in the area, but we're going to address that problem as well. So unless we find out about it, sometimes it goes, unnoticed. We don't know. So that's why we had you here. You're our eyes and our ears for us, keeping things out, keeping it out for us. But absolutely, look, we used to tell people, we used to tell kids with stranger awareness, when somebody knocks on the door, right, are we going to open the door? Kids, no, we're not going to open the door, right? Right, guys? Yeah, these shakers said no, right? But the problem we're having now is we've got these criminals coming to your door, knocking on the door, and when they don't get an answer, they're going around back and they're bashing in your door, breaking the window, and they're going into your homes. So what we're telling people to do is, if you can open the door safely, you have a lock screen, or you can contact the person through the door and you feel comfortable enough doing it, that's fine. Don't ever let anybody in your house unless you call them there to do work, period. Nobody should be going into your house unless you called them there to do a job. And if you're not sure and someone's trying to do that, get on the phone right away and call us and let us know. Okay? So the answer to that, Jerry, would be definitely let them know you're there at the home so they know somebody's there. If you feel comfortable opening the door and safe and secure doing that, either with the lock screen or just opening the door, go ahead. And if you're not sure, call the station. Look, a lot of times people have things that are suspicious going on and they don't call the station. I just called the lady who called me a few days ago. She says, Rick, my neighbor, whose brother is a deputy sheriff, had seen a couple of suspicious-looking characters at my home. Her home's been vacant for a few weeks. She's doing a bunch of work on it. She's staying in a hotel, right? I'm sorry about the air, by the way. It's controlled through the district office. No, you're fine. I just wanted to touch on that. You reminded me about your fan. The district office controls it, and we don't have any way of pulling it down. I apologize. But Ron, can you do me a favor and maybe open up that one door if you don't mind, please? Mike, we have this one open over here. It might help a little bit, okay? So I apologize for the heat. So.
It's on that fan.
The fan? Well, it's going to be loud.
It's kind of loud.
Yeah, I think I'll hold off on the fan. Unless you want to go on the fan? Yeah, you'll be okay? Okay, all right. Let's see if the doors help, and then if that will turn the fan on. I'll use the PA system. All right, so getting back to answering the door, just don't, if you're not sure, don't answer the door, but let them know you're there. Let them say, hey, like if you're a kid, you can tell them, my mom and dad, they're busy right now, you'll have to come back later. Right? We're never going to open the door to strangers. All right? So it makes sense? Anybody have any questions about that? Concerns? Okay, how about other questions, comments, concerns? We have time, so feel free. I know you all have issues, because you all look serious. How was the food, by the way? Was it good? Yeah? Right on. Yeah, thank you. The city of Temple City actually pays for that. So, and we see Tom and Fernando, our 2 council members, at all our meetings, and really they're coming for the tacos, not for us. All right? Tasters, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
We get a call every once in a while. It's supposed to be, well, the FBI has informed me that there's been a lot of burglaries in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And I'm typically saying, I'll tell my husband, I'll call the station.
So if someone's coming to the FBI and they're calling and saying that there's a lot of burglaries?
There's crime in the area. Yeah,
Okay.
the FBI calling.
I can't really see the FBI doing that, but I mean, as long as they're not asking you for your personal information,
Well, we don't let it go that far.
and they're not asking you for money, you hang up on them. Good. All right. Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong at all. Yes, ma'am.
Just give you a month
Okay. Okay. Okay, but they were actually, there were previous owners by the name they were asking?
I think, I don't know the names of the previous owners.
Okay. If you're not sure about something like that, we want you to call the station. When you call the station, Lucy, if you're not translating, do you mind just going right outside? Thanks, thank you. I just want everyone to be able to hear. I'm used to the gate. Thanks. Okay, so if, well, where was I? Someone's paying attention, right? Call the station.
Call the station. Call the station.
For what?
For someone inquiring about owners.
Okay, good, good. Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you. That was a test to see if you guys are paying attention. Only a few of you passed. So you better wake up and you better start paying attention. All right? Okay, look. When you call the station, that gives us the probable cause to stop that person and find out what they're doing. If not, we have to find a reason to pull up to them or stop them while they're driving around. All right? You will be surprised at how many times you citizens are instrumental in apprehending bad guys for us. Okay? We go out there, we have our deputies and our team, we all go out there looking for bad guys. But you probably create half of the statistics for us when we make arrests because of your phone calls. So call. If you're not sure, call. Blame it on me. Say, hey, you know, I feel like a dummy, but Deputy Adams told me to call. So blame it on me. I don't care. But make sure you call if there's any doubt whatsoever, okay? All right. We're going to keep moving, and we'll be here, past 7:30 for those who still have questions. If you want to write them down like you mentioned, you can. All right, so the first year we did the program, we touched on a whole bunch of material. We went over a lot of stuff. And so what we did was, we created area leaders. So if you're interested in being more involved, meeting once a month for 10 months out of the year, January through October, and really just kind of giving us ideas. You don't have to be that involved other than the meeting. We hold it to 1 hour. We get you out of here in an hour. If you're interested in seeing me at the end of the meeting, and I'll talk a little bit more about it, it'll just be a way for you to be a little more involved in the neighborhood, other than just attending the meetings and getting the crime logs. No problem if you don't want to, too. It's all good. But what we did is we created we've got about 15 to 20, but we have about 10 or 12 that are active folks that come in once a month, and we're changing the program every month. Okay? So your packet since last year, 14 months ago, have more information. And we're developing. Look, it's an ongoing process. We're only about a year and a half to all the changes we made, and we already have 800 contacts via email, and the meetings that we're having are still going strong, and we're getting anywhere from 50 to 60 on up to 80 or 90 people at our meetings, which is good, all right? Because the more we educate you, the better your community is going to be. Make sense? All right, so we asked those area leaders, what do you want to hear about, and what do you think your community is going to want to hear about for the next set of meetings, all right, for year 2. Now, the way it's set up is, we wanted to go January through December, that's why we came up with 12 different areas. But after we set up the areas, we realized, well, people can't really meet in November and December because of the holidays. So now we're going to meet with you once every 14 months. So it kind of throws it out of the loop a little bit. It's not perfect, but nothing is perfect, right? Anybody here perfect?
I am.
James, Brian, and the young man over here, right? Okay. 3 perfect people. All right, good. Well, at least we have a few. That's all good. All right. What did they want to hear, and what did they think you'd want to hear about? Drug and theft enforcement and identifying suspicious activity. Okay? Those are our big crimes. We have other little things that go on. We're not going to touch on those tonight like we did 14 months ago, but we're going to get started. And I created this PowerPoint, but I don't usually do it, so I'm going to cheat a little bit and look at it, but it's all good. Just don't throw anything at me when I have my back to you. All right, so common factors between drugs and thefts. All right, can everybody see okay? I know the screen is far back. Let's talk to Mike about that. Mike. The screen, man, it's all the way back there. But it's good though. Can you guys see it back here? Yeah? Okay, good. All right, so most thefts, like Ron mentioned earlier, are committed by drug users or addicts. They're out there looking for the drug. They're addicted, so they're going to go into your homes and they're going to steal things that they can pawn easily. There's a pawn shop right on Roseview Boulevard next to the car wash north of Broadway, in case you don't know. If you're the victim of some type of theft, whether it's in your car or your home, and it's a small item you think might have been pawned, I would try that and call others. The reality is, your detectives aren't always going to call if it's not workable. In other words, if somebody breaks into your house or your car, and all we have is a whodunit, and we don't know who did it, okay, that report may sit on that detective's desk for a month or two before they even look at it and get to it. The reality is, in law enforcement, we don't have enough people to do everything we need to do. With the budget and the economy, the way things are, and we'll talk more about the economy, it simply doesn't happen. So it's incumbent upon you to take the time to look and see if you can find something. Now, if you find something, that'll jumpstart us to get into action, and we'll actually find out who found the stuff and go make the arrest. Okay? I'm not going to get too technical with you about the crimes and the way they work, but we will make an arrest if we can find somebody involved. Okay? Doesn't sound right, doesn't sound fair, but it's the truth. Okay? I'm not going to lie to you, I'm not going to tell you something that's not true. Alright? So that's why you're here, so you get educated about it. Alright? Most of our crimes, when you're looking at the crime blotter, by the way, if you sign up for that sign-up sheet with your email address, we'll give you weekly reports on most of the crimes that are going on in Temple City. Alright? Most of our crimes, when you see, the suspect was a resident of Baldwin Park, El Monte, Los Angeles, Palmdale, they're coming in from all over the place. Every once in a while you get one from Temple City. We do have crooks in our city, but we know most of them, thank God. And usually we lock them out and they get released again, and then we deal with them again until they move away. And sometimes we even harass them until we get them out of the city. That's happened before too. We don't want criminal activity in the city. Neither do you, right? Right? Okay, very good. All right, so most, I would say 75 to 80% of our crimes that are occurring in our city are from people driving through. All right? That's why it's important for you, if you see somebody in your driveway, your neighbor's driveway, that doesn't belong, call us. Even if you're not sure. This lady that called me, she said, yeah, my neighbors all know that I'm working on my house, and these guys got out of the car, and she's got a pod in the driveway, and they were looking at the pod. And they're looking at the side where the lock is. Fortunately, they didn't get into it, they didn't do anything. But that's what we want to know about. My folks live in Temple City. I was checking on their house the other day. There was a guy parked next door, and as soon as I pulled up into their driveway, he took off. I got the license plate number, right? And I ran it, and he's from Azusa. Now, whether or not he was there legitimately, very possibly could have been. But still looked suspicious. He looked kind of suspicious, right? So I ran it, and we're going to check on him and kind of do some follow-up with that. All right. Do we have homes in the city where we have drug activity? What do you think? Absolutely, okay? Most of the time we know about them and their locations, and we can tell you exactly who we've arrested from that house. Search warrants, probation searches, parole searches, crimes occurring such as domestic violence, assaults, things like that, okay? But not always. Just like the one I told you about when I started on Lil Monte. We didn't know about that one, and it could be new, all right? So if you have something like that in your area where you have people stopping up and just staying for a short time, maybe you have a kid on a skateboard or even an adult riding a bike down the street, they do a little hand-to-hand transaction, and they're back in the house, email me. You don't have to worry about anybody finding out either, okay? It's all confidential. All right, that's how we do it. All right. Residential and vehicle burglaries, definitely, I said that already. They're the most common crimes that are occurring in our city. By far, thank God we don't have robberies, assaults, kidnappings, murders. Now, we did have a murder recently, and we think that it was just an isolated incident. That's all I can tell you right now. Yeah, he's holding up the article of the gal that was killed. The last one before that was about 7 years, and the one before that was about 7 years, and I happened to be here both those times, and those kids were, one was gang affiliated, or it was kind of a drive-by, one gang member to another gang member. And then the more recent one, 7 years ago, was a kid who came from a bad area, had some issues there, and had problems with some of the kids, 2 kids in Temple City. And they were both arrested and served time. The case, I don't know what all happened with the case. They didn't get life sentences, but that's all I can really touch about with that. Yes, ma'am?
Can you say if the murder that happened recently was a burglary gone wrong?
Yeah, can I say it was a burglary gone wrong? No, I can't really say that. I don't have enough information, and what little I do have, I'm not allowed to give at this point. And the reason that is because there may be factors that went on that we don't want anybody else to know about, because sometimes people confess to crimes that they didn't do. So, and there's other reasons why we can't share information. I'll tell you this, based on what I do know, and I think Ron would agree with me, because he's talked to homicide detectives a lot more about it than I have. I think it's an isolated incident. I don't believe it necessarily was a burglary gone wrong, but I can't tell you for sure. But I do want to tell you, I think Temple City is very safe. My folks live in town. My grandma's been in this town for 50 years. You know, it's a great community, and overall, especially considering all the station areas that we cover, that we patrol, South El Monte, Roseby, Duarte, all the county areas, Temple City by far has the least amount of crime. And part of the reason for that is proactive deputies that are out there enforcing things. But the big thing, and I'll tell you, when I first got here to this station 17 years ago, people used to call about all sorts of what I thought was silly, silly stuff. Right? And the guys and gals that are coming out to patrol, they want to get in the action. Right? They don't want to, they're not worried about a dog barking late at night. Right? They want to go out there and arrest bad guys. That's just the mentality. That's not all their mentality, but it's a lot of the mentality. Okay? But that's what we're here for. Fortunately, we know the importance of quality of life and how that affects the community as a whole. So we're glad. And thanks to you folks, that's the reason we're one of the safest communities in the United States. I think we were voted number 40, out of 100, the top 100 safest cities in the United States. Not bad, huh? 40, not bad. Yeah. And that really is because of your efforts and ours. It's a joint effort, it really is. Okay. Biggest drugs. Since we're talking about drugs and thefts, keeping the same theme, meth and marijuana. All right? Marijuana is common. It's almost legal, unfortunately. All right? And methamphetamine is a cheaper form of cocaine. Cocaine is too pure and expensive. All right? And we won't go into too much about the drugs, but those are the biggest ones we see. As a matter of fact, we just helped our gang unit with a search warrant 2 days ago, and they got about a half a pound off a guy in the city of El Monte. Okay? But it's all over the place. And what we get out there, we can get pounds. It's a drop. Not even a drop in the bucket. Okay? But it's our job and our responsibility as parents and grandparents to educate our kids, to make sure that we're doing the right thing with our families, spending quality time with your children, right, so that they don't get into those types of situations. Because I'm telling you right now, 95% of you, if you do a good job as parents, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist, you don't have to be perfect. I've done a fairly decent job, and Lord knows I got tons of issues, right? But if you're involved with your kids, you've got them involved in sports, and you're monitoring their schoolwork, they're going to grow up and do real well, okay? And most of you, if not all of you, are already doing that. That's why you're here. I really should be talking to the people at home, like you folks. They're going to be watching this later on, all right? Make sure you raise your kids properly. All right, I'm just kidding. All right, let's move on. Okay, narcotic locations. We already talked about the first point. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, the only way we're going to find out about it is if you call us. So if you've got a lot of people coming, either walking up to a house, maybe a house that's not really taken care of. It could be a house that's taken care of nicely because mom or grandma live there and their criminal, son or grandson are taking advantage while they're working, and the criminal's not working, and so he or she, they're hanging out with all their drug buddies and they're coming over, right? So what happens is, now you've got all these dopers and they're coming into your neighborhood and they're walking up, they're on bikes, they could be in cars, not staying for very long. And not only are they going to buy drugs and party and everything else, but they're breaking into your homes. If you got mail left out on your front porch, they're going to stop by and take it so they get your account numbers. So they can use your accounts to go and get free stuff. Okay? If you see this going on, even if you're not sure, shoot me an email. An email is the best way to get a hold of me because I can forward that very easily to the patrol deputies so they know what's going on at the touch of a button once they read that email. And then I can print it up, I can look into it, I can write down license plate number of people I contact, and then I can get back to you later with what happens. And I'm really good about getting back to everybody. If you've got a problem, I will get back to you. I will have an answer for you. It may not be the one you necessarily like, but I'll tell you how it is. And most of the time we please everybody. Most of the time we really do, okay? But you got to understand, this program is growing, and on top of all the other things Ron mentioned we do a ton of other things, so it may take a little while. But I will. Even if it takes a few months, I will get back to you. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, so make sure you're aware of that. On the same note, you have massage parlors that pop up every once in a while. So, and it's predominantly within the Asian community, although not specifically, but it is predominantly within the Asian community. So if you see that going on, where you have male Asians only, and maybe some, hot-looking, cute-looking young Asian ladies that are in the house, maybe they drive in, they show up for the day, and they leave. Maybe they're living there, and the males are coming for 30 minutes, right, and leaving. Call me. We have ways of dealing with that too. It's off the subject of what we're talking about. But usually what we'll do is we'll set up, this is for the people watching at home that are actually criminals. We'll actually send a deputy undercover inside with a wire, right? So the other deputies, detectives are listening to what's going on, and as soon as we have a violation, we're going into the house, we cite the gals, and we arrest if we need to, and then it usually shuts down the shop. We've had about 3 or 4 that I've actually been involved with over the last 12 or 13 years, and we've been successful shutting them all down. And I haven't really heard of many more operating lately, but just keep an eye out for it, okay? Keep an eye out for it. All right. Let's see here. Locations, I mentioned the locations we've had ongoing problems with. We've made multiple arrests before, search warrants, compliance checks. We hammer them. We don't stop. And when they go to jail, like several of them do, and they come back out and they're acting up again, we're back on them again. Okay? That's how we do it. That's all we can do. Look, the economy blows right now. I don't know about you, but I don't have any money. I haven't had a raise in 5 years, okay? I got kids in private school, you know, and that's about it, right? Okay, and that's why I don't have any money, because I'm spending all my money on my kids, right? I should send them to public school and save a fortune, all right? But look, we're releasing crooks, okay? A lot sooner than we want to be. The jails are not staffed like they should be. That's the reality, okay? Guys and gals that are on parole, they're released a lot sooner than they should be. All right, we got a guy on Danes, arrested twice for possession of sale. The first time, bailed out. Second time, a month later, bailed out again. We haven't seen him in a month. We know he knows we're on to him, so he's either out of the area or back in jail. All right? So we are combating it, but we need you to tell us when you see that type of activity so we can get right on it. All right, and obviously we have an increase in thefts near your homes when we have people that are savages, people that are, you know, crooks, ripping you off, right? Because they're going there, they want drugs. All right, marijuana grows. Those are big, and I'll tell you why. Mostly, predominantly with the Asians, young Asian males. You might get 2 or 3 or 4, you might just get 1. They're going to rent your house, they're going to pay you probably for 2 or 3 months up front. They're going to move in at night, and then we're going to seal probably. They're going to bring in all this equipment, and I'll show you the equipment in a minute. Right? They're going to seal off the house, you're not going to smell anything. They're going to rip off electricity. All right, and they're going to put about 1,000 plants in the house. In most cases, they might actually live in the house, which is one we just had in our city about a month ago, 2 months ago. My partner Robin, he got the information from an informant about, and they were actually living in the house. Okay, most of the time they're not. So they'll be in and out probably within a night. They'll have everything set up. They go by once every day or 2 just to check on the plants. But it's all done, you know, they have on timers, and they have the lights going, they have the water going, and then within a month or 2, these plants are ready, they're fully grown, and they're ready to pull those buds off the plants, which is where they get their money. All right, so most of these guys, they're not just doing it in one house. And we've had 3 or 4 in the city, and we probably have 4 or 5 we don't even know of, all right? That's just the reality. They probably have 3 to 4 homes, maybe more, that they're doing. And for them, it's profitable. How much do you think they're getting in 2 months when 1,000 plants go from baby plants all the way up to grown plants? How much money do you think they make off of that product in 2 months on one house? Yeah, throw it out there for you, Dan.
40,000.
How much?
40,000.
40,000? Higher. $1 million. If it was $1 million bucks, I'd do it. All right. True story. I actually had a gal I was transported to the station who was in a pursuit and she crashed. And she was high on drugs and she was on parole for burglary. And she had a warrant for her arrest. And I was taking her back to the station. She says, Deputy Adams, she says, how much is it going to cost for you to pull your car over and let me out right now? How much? I said, girl, you don't have enough money to pay me to let you out of this car, right? Okay? They can make anywhere from $80,000 to $140,000 from one house, from 1,000 plants, every 2 months. Wow. And true story. There's a ductwork. Okay, I got to figure out. Here we go. Right here. Can everybody see that, or am I in the way? Okay. And here's all your plants right down here. But in your rental that you've now given these people to rent and make money off your home, there's got to be about, 5 or 10 or 15 of these in every room going through. So they tear up your walls like you wouldn't believe. We have to tear this stuff out to get rid of it in the first place. So your house is going to be demolished. You're not going to be happy if you're renting it out. Those are the breakers. I don't even know what they're called. But those are all the little systems they put in place, these boxes right here, so they can steal your electricity. So, how many of you, especially in the summertime, we're spending $200 or $300 on your electric bill. Right? Okay. They're running 20 times more electricity than you will in a month. They're paying $50. That ought to get you. On top of making $80,000 to $140,000 every 2 months. A bunch of plants right over here. You got the light right here up top. All right, and see how the windows and the doors are all closed off? You never even know coming from the outside. Those are your baby plants. Bathroom, kitchen, bedrooms. They're going to use everything they can. Why not? Right? I mean, the more money, the better. Don't you think? This is kind of a pre-setup, the trays. There's, I don't know what those are. Maybe like nutrients for the soil in that pot. But that's just the start of the makings of. All right? All right, let's go into residential burglaries because I've taken some of the city's time and I always do that. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
How do we know if somebody's stealing from our electricity? Besides,
Well, that's a good question. Yeah, you aren't going to know necessarily, but if you've got rental property and you're questioning something, call me. We have ways of checking. I can't tell you those ways of checking right now because we're on camera, but I can't turn it off and turn it back on. I'll tell you after the video if you want. So we do have ways of checking. So if you're not sure, call me, and then we'll figure it out from there. Okay? Yes, sir.
Do you work with the Edison?
Edison. We do work with Edison. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's one of our ways we deal with it.
Automatically inform you?
Well, Edison won't, I haven't heard of Edison coming to us yet and saying, hey, Sheriff's Department, we're getting a low, volume for this size house, and up until, a month ago, we had $200 or $300 a month bills. That doesn't normally happen, but usually we go to them first, and we talk with them. But they need search warrants and things like that. There's, all sorts of legalities that we have to go through so we don't violate anybody's rights, right? So we got to do it the right way. So, all right, so let's talk about residential burglaries. Most are occurring when? At night when you guys are home sleeping? Nope. Oh, heck no. Midday, right? It's on there, so if you don't know, you can read it off the right? Just check to see if you pay attention. I love the pig. Is that a pig or what is it? Rabbit? What is it? Oh, that's your umbrella? What is it, a rabbit? I like it. I like it. All right. Okay, so most are occurring during the day when you're gone. Talk to your neighbors. That sheet we have in your packet, you don't need to know 8 neighbors. Just get to know the guy or gal on your left and on your right, maybe across the street, or at least one. I had a neighbor that would, I gave him my key and my alarm code, and he fed our cat for us when we were out of town and picked up the mail, and who knows what else he did. He probably had parties now. But hey, I came back and it was clean. Right? No big deal. Now, I'm not saying you have to go to that extreme, but talk to your neighbors. Just tell them, hey, I'm going out of town. You might keep an eye out for us. And what we'll do is, let me know, shoot me an email, and we'll go by there and we'll do patrol checks while you're gone. And I'll also have a patrol technique do it as well. So just something to think about, okay? Another tool for you. I think in securing your homes, look, Temple City 50 years ago used to be able to, leave your doors. I know, I grew up not. Well, yeah, almost 50. I'm 46 already. And I was here when I was a year old, living in Temple City. I grew up in Temple City. I used to run up and down the street, and we'd be throwing water balloons at cars going by, and we'd get a purse, right? We'd put a purse in the street, we'd tie a string to it, right? And then someone would pull up, and they would lean out of their car, and one guy almost fell over because we pulled the purse away from when he was trying to reach for it, right? All right, okay. Not real mature at 46, but when you're 14, 12 years old, it's a lot of fun, right? And that's not for you guys to do either. I'm trying to give you guys ideas. All right? All right? But anyway, my point is the community was a lot safer. Many of you that have been in town for years, you left your back doors unlocked. To this day, my folks still leave their back door unlocked. Look, if you've got stuff in your home that you're worried about, secure it. Small items, put them in a safe, put them in a safe deposit box, hide them. Because it's not uncommon for guys nowadays to go into your home by you allowing them in, or if you're in the front yard watering, they go around to the back door and they're in your house. Chances are they're going to leave as soon as they're found, right? As soon as you see them, they're going to bug out. But we have had occasion or two where now they're tying people up, or they've got a gun, not usually guns, but where they could have a gun. If you're home, keep your doors secure, even your back doors, keep them secure. And when you leave, lock all your windows and your doors and everything else, okay? Make sure it's secure. We've had more burglaries and vehicle thefts where people leave their cars unlocked. And they've got a GPS in their laptop. And, really? You try telling people, if you don't want to lose it, then don't have it there and secure your car. And your vehicles, I wouldn't leave anything that's important in your cars whatsoever, but if you do, hide it, and don't hide it when you get to the point where you're going to be. So when you go out to the market, don't get out of your car and stay in the trunk where you got bad guys watching the parking lot. As soon as you go in, they're going to bash your window, flip the switch to the trunk, and now they got your purse and they're gone within 30 seconds. Spark plug just takes out the glass just like that. It's real easy. Okay? Just something to think about. It is really hot in here. I'm sweating like a good thing. And I know Brian's stressing because he's not going to have enough time. But it's good. I'm happy. I'm having fun. Okay. Happy, happy, happy. Who watches Duck Dynasty? Isn't that a great show? Duck Dynasty. I got something. Sigh. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, it comes on Duck Dynasty. Hilarious. Okay. That's my plug. All right. Alarm systems. I never really thought alarms were that big of a deal, but when I redid my house, I put one in. And I'm telling you, what a great peace of mind. Because crooks, even if they go and break into your house, they're going to move right out as soon as they hear that alarm going off. They're not going to stay very long. I can't tell you how many times we've gone to homes where there's no alarm system whatsoever. People went away for the weekend, and these people went in there, and everything was tossed out of their drawers. They went in and made food in the kitchen, drank their alcohol, left a mess. Okay? If you can afford it, they're not terribly expensive to install, and a lot of times you have to commit to maybe a year or two of the service. That's $20 to $30 a month. But if you can afford it, great tool. Otherwise, just keep your house locked. Keep your valuables hidden in a safe or somewhere where no one's going to get to it. All right. We talked about communicating with your neighbors, right? We talked about calling on suspicious people in your neighborhood. And Ron mentioned distraction burglaries, especially with elderly residents. Like I said, don't let them in your house. Period. Call us. All right? Vehicle burglaries and thefts. We talked about it a little bit. If your car's locked and somebody goes into it, breaks into it, it becomes a felony, which is a lot more serious than a misdemeanor. Okay? So it becomes a burglary. But if your vehicle, this doesn't account for, this doesn't include your home, just vehicles. But if your car's unlocked and somebody goes into it, it's just a theft. So if you've got your wallet and you only have $200, it's a petty theft report. Lock your car because that becomes a felony. If we do get your property back, which does happen from time to time, not very often, and not often enough, but if we do, all right, it becomes a felony, which means they're going to get more jail time than just a straight petty theft. So keep your cars locked. All right? Obviously, we talked about not leaving things in your car. Don't leave them in plain view. And if you've got an alarm, use it. You know? And the transients, we have a lot of those. We've been dealing with those, and we touched on that at the last year's meeting. We won't go into it tonight. But they love going into cars. And we'll show you right here. Okay, this is Rudy. And he used to live in our city. And Ron and Kirk, it was beautiful. Well, Rob Alvarez, first of all, got a burglary report call. And this guy left his backpack in the garage of the home they got broken into. And Dummy has his picture on his phone. Now, we had to kind of cover his eyes. That's the best part, but whatever. You get the general idea about this guy. He was good for probably, he was a drug user, addicted to drugs. And he was he was good for at least 10 to 15 burglaries in our city. At least that we know of. A lot of times people get broken into, they don't afford it. Report it. We need to know about it. Okay? He's moving out of our area. The day he's loading his truck up, Ron and Kirk are going by his house just to kind of get surveillance and find out if he's there. And sure enough, they see him loading this thing up. So they get one of the detectives that handles our city crimes, and they got a couple others, and they end up arresting him. And he actually sobered up. They went back to jail and interviewed him, and he actually admitted to breaking into the 2 or 3 homes that we knew he did. You know, and I don't know how many others he might have, admitted to as well. But in this one, his backpack was left in the house with his cell phone, with his picture. Another one, he was identified by the resident because he was in his house, moved some things out of his house while the resident, I think the resident was upstairs, which happens. They don't think you're home, you're upstairs sleeping, you don't answer the door, and they're downstairs going through your home. You got to be careful about that. You have to know about that, right? Hey, Miguel, is she beating you up over there or what? Huh? Miguel's wife's shaking him over here, right? And I thought, okay, am I going to have to do something over there or take action? No, they love each other very much. Miguel's been with us ever since we started, so they're great. Okay, so anyhow, this resident sees him outside his window getting ready to take the stuff that he set on the ledge of his window. From the outside, he's going to grab it and take it with him, and then he sees the resident and runs off. But he identifies him. Okay? You guys aren't sweating as much as me, I know that. All right? Are you soaked? Yeah, the fan, yeah. Okay, so anyhow, I just want to show you. So this is Rudy. He got arrested, and he's going to do some serious time. And Brian's going to show us this other character. This is a car, and we're just going to show it to you real quick, and then I think we're going to wrap up and let the city do their part. But this is a car at night. Could be one of your cars in our city. All right? And Brian, if you can fast forward until we see him coming up, that would be great if you could do that. And what happened was, the folks that have this car, they left the windows down just a little bit, okay? But it doesn't even have to be that. It could be you've got something left in your car, even a bag with clothes in it. The crook's not going to know that, right? So don't leave anything in plain view in your car, and you won't have to worry about it. And if the car is unlocked, and this guy right here, Kurt identified this guy. I forgot who he was. And I think we arrested him, right, Ron? Did he get arrested or no? Yeah, he was arrested. But that's not Rudy, though, right?
That is Rudy.
Oh, that is Rudy. Okay, I'm sorry. So this is Rudy with our same guy we were showing you the picture of. And this is the third incident that we had. I knew we had 3. Look at how he's reaching into the car. Now, not the greatest camera, but cameras always play a pretty good role. And I've got Brian just brought me pictures of cameras in the park of the guy vandalizing the bench, and we're going to find out who he is too. So those are nice little things to have. But look, he's got his hand in there. You'll see him open the door, right? He's still working.
Hey, Rick, and mentioned, well, that window's slightly ajar. That's one of the problems right there. Like we said, lock your vehicles.
Yeah. So you'll see him, and I'm going to turn over the city so they can get going, because we want to get you folks out of here on time and give them enough time. And we'll even run it right now. Oh, actually, Brian might have to turn it. Oh, there he goes. He's in. So he's in. And so he spends several minutes going through the car. Look, you can have change in the little, center console area, or, next to it. People are going to go in after it. You'd be surprised when they're desperate. Especially if your car's unlocked. Lock your cars. All right? So thank you. And just so you know, Brian, who's doing the city part? Ronald. Oh, Ronald. So Ronald's going to talk to you about city issues you need to be worried about. We're going to do the raffle. And then we're still here afterwards if you need us. We're here for questions and answers and anything else. And if there's something that you can't wait for, write it down and give it to myself or Ron. Thank you guys very much. I think part of the problem is the humidity too with the rain. I don't know.
Okay, folks, my name is Brian. I'm the Public Safety Officer for the City of Temple City. And up here we have Ramon de la Garza, one of our Community Preservation Officers. I'm going to turn it over to him in short while, but I have a couple of things that I want to touch base. Deputy Adams did mention that we have the designation for the city. And the state of California, out of 100, we are the 40th. State of California is number 6 out of all the cities in the state of California. Last year we were ranked 14th, so we've come up with that. And in the nation, we were this year ranked 40th of the top 100 safest cities in the United States. Last year we were ranked 64th. So again, an improvement, and it's due in part to programs like this. And so I'd like you guys to give yourselves a round of applause for this. And so Ron's going to give a quick presentation on a little bit of what community preservation is and how it is done in the city. And then after his presentation, I do have another presentation, and so just bear with us. I also will be passing around evaluation forms. Please fill them out and be brutally honest with the forms. They help us structure future programs and future presentations. If there's something you like, tell us what you don't like. What you do like, and also to get a raffle ticket, you do need to turn in an eval. And so we'll go ahead and pass those around and turn in your evals. You can get a raffle ticket. We have 2 bags of coffee beans from Starbucks and 2 gift certificates from Doug House. So those will be wrapped off at the end of the evening.
Good evening, my name is Ronald Garza. I'm a community preservation officer with the City of Temple City, and I'd like to share some information with you regarding community preservation. Our accomplishment for 2012, we switched the name of code enforcement to community preservation, and the benefits of community preservation are we implemented a focused area systematic enforcement program in which we canvass the area of the city, we go house to house, and if we see violations from the public right-of-way or from the street, what we'll do is we'll post a courtesy notice which advises the owner and of what the violations that we observed, and we'll try to give them at least 2 weeks to resolve the violations on the property. Also, we've We've updated and improved our property maintenance codes and building codes, and which they help describe how to maintain your property and be consistent with city codes. So we revamped the codes so the residents can understand and enforce clearly. Also, we've implemented city services such as what we do is we patrol the city. We look for abandoned shopping carts and we report graffiti to the graffiti abatement team, and what they'll do is they'll clean up the graffiti for us for the city. Also, we implemented ways that the public can contact the city if they have any issues or anything they'd like to report. Okay, also I'd like to discuss a program with you, and it's called SEPTED, and what it is it helps with reducing crime, and it helps improve areas. And what is SEPTED? Basically, SEPTED is an acronym which stands for Crime Prevention Through Environmental Design. SEPTED is an approach to deter criminal behavior through environmental design. Through effective use and design of a property can lead to a reduction in the fear and incidence of crime and an improvement in the quality of life. So basically, through SEPTED, what they do is through design, they'll put large windows in buildings to where you can casually supervise people passing your property on the sidewalk, and you're not so conspicuous, they don't really see you watching them, and you're able to patrol your property more easily. And also, porches and sidewalk encourage interaction between neighbors. So basically, a lot of times you don't know your neighbors. So if you put like sidewalks and porches, hopefully you'll talk to your neighbors and you'll discuss the issues with your property or the neighborhood and things of that nature. Paving and architectural treatments define public and private zones. Basically, if you look at the picture above, you can see how there's hedges. You can see how there's wrought iron fencing. Basically, what that does is it defines what my property is and what the public right-of-way is and what the public property is. So basically, you're telling people that are passing by, this is my property, please don't come on my property without my okay, or if you do, please respect it, things of that nature. Also, if you look at the picture above, you'll see that there's low landscaping and fencing. That is so that no one can hide behind the hedges, or they can't hide in areas like behind shrubs under your windows. Basically, you have overgrown shrubs in front of your front windows. That's an area for people to hide. You don't want to have things of that nature. You want to keep your shrubs low and your vegetations low, so that you can see clearly out your windows and people can't hide behind the bushes and shrubs. Natural surveillance. Natural surveillance is the capacity to see what is occurring outside of your home without having to take special measures. Number one, well-maintained property, hedges, bushes, vegetation that do not block windows or entrances like I was discussing earlier with you. Number two, adequate lighting. It's very important that your property is well lit. Number one, if your property is well lit, people that have bad intentions are less likely to try to do things to your property or break into your house or things of that nature. And also, it's easier for you to see people outside when you're inside your building. So it's very important that you have well-lit areas on your property. Number three, warning signs and alarm system signs. It's very helpful that you have, like, beware of dog or please no trespassing signs on your property. What it does is a good deterrent for people who are passing by with bad intentions. If they see a sign, they may be discouraged to enter your property or do something bad to your property or try to break into your property or do something that they shouldn't be doing. Okay, well-maintained hedges and warning signs. If you look at the picture above, you can see that the hedges are not higher than the windows, and you want to have your hedges low. That way, No one can really hide behind the hedges. And also, if you hear a noise or something that you want to investigate, you can look out your window and you're not going to have an obstruction in front of you. And also in front of the hedges, if you look clearly, you can see there's a Amtech. It's like I guess a security type of signage, which advises people that I do have a security system. So you better think twice before you try to break into my home. If you look at the picture above, you'll see an overgrown tree, which is obstructing the natural visibility of the windows. If you have a tree that's overgrown in vegetation, you can't really see in front of your house. You can't really see clearly if there's anybody on your property or if there's someone hiding behind the bushes behind the tree. Okay, above is a picture. This is a before picture. If you look at this photo, you'll see that there's overgrown vegetation. There's overgrown shrubs. There's overgrown bushes. The grass is overgrown. The grass needs to be watered. It doesn't look like it's being well maintained. It's very unsightly. That is a community preservation violation. Here's an after picture after they complied with the violations. If you look at the photo above, you can see that they trimmed the hedges. The hedges no longer are blocking the windows. You have a clear line of sight out the windows. It's less likely that people will be able to hide behind the shrubs or the bushes and try to break into your home or things of that nature. If you look at the grass, they reseeded it and they've been watering it, so it looks a lot better than it did. This is the way a home should look. Okay, if you look at the photo above, these are warning signs. At the upper left-hand corner is a beware of dog sign. Those are good deterrents. People are usually afraid of dogs. They don't want to get bit. So chances are they won't enter your yard. If you look at the top right-hand corner, you'll see that there's the lower sign says warning, security cameras in use. And up on the upper corner of the roof, along the fascia board and the rain gutter, there's a camera. And then the little window on the wall is also another sign warning people that there's camera surveillance. And on the lower left-hand corner, you'll see a private property, no trespassing sign at the front of the property before you enter the common area, which would be the common driveway. On the lower right-hand photo, you'll see a post security sign, which is posted in a conspicuous area and an obvious area in the front yard. It's where it should be, so everyone can see it. This photo right here, it shows, if you look at the circles on the left-hand side, there's inside the red circle is a surveillance camera. If you look on the right circle on the lower right-hand side, that's a good example of a well-lit area. So this is a good example of a property that's well-lit and has good surveillance. Okay, this next picture is a good example of lack of lighting. Lighting is not utilized. It's a badly lit property. This is what you don't want. This is the type of situation that you're just asking for trouble. If people see that you don't have a well-lit property, they're more inclined to walk up to your property and try to break in or do something that they shouldn't be doing. The second photo is an example of a well-lit property. If you look at the front yard, you can see that they have two light posts, and you can actually see the front of the house because it's pretty well lit. That's a good example of what you want. Territorial reinforcement. Design elements such as decorated fencing and landscaping, elements that help to distinguish the difference between public and private areas. Okay, this is an example of why people have fences in their front yards. Because basically when someone has a fence in their front yard, they're telling you, I have a certain expectation of privacy. Please don't come onto my property. If they have a gate on that front yard fence and it's locked, they're really telling you, I don't want anybody on my property. Please stay off my property. And also, a lot of properties have fences because they don't want dogs coming onto the property. They don't want anything to intrude onto their private property. This next photo is an example of how fencing defines property lines without creating hiding places. If you look at this photo, you can see that it's about a 42-inch fence, and it's above grade, and it's in the front yard. It's not totally enclosing the front yard, but it's giving people the idea that I want privacy on my property, and this fence is to let you know that please don't walk on my grass or don't enter my front yard without asking or without permission or maintenance. Maintaining your property ultimately makes it a safer place. Negative effects of neglected and unmaintained properties. Number one, they increase criminal activity and crime rate. Number two, long-term residents would move out of the city. Number three, they decrease property values and devalue your home and your property. Number four, they have an impact on investment, rents, sales, and purchases. Number five, new residents are afraid to move into the city. And number six, they increase property vacancy rate. Basically, if people are looking to buy a home and they drive down your neighborhood and they see that 7 out of the 10 homes on your block are not maintained, they're probably not going to want to move into your area because they think there's going to be a problem with maybe crime or people just don't care. So they probably don't want to live there. I wouldn't. Here's a before picture of an unmaintained property. If you look at this photo, you can tell that it's mostly dead grass. There's high weeds. If you look at the shrubs in front of the house, you can tell that they're blocking the windows. You can't really see out the front window. The hedges and the bushes are areas where someone can hide behind the bushes, and they can just sit there and wait till the coast is clear and break into your house. This is an after photo. If you look at this photo, you don't see the hedges anymore. They got rid of them. You can clearly see the front of the house. There's nowhere for someone to hide. The front yard is green. It's being maintained. It's been watered. It's probably been reseeded. It looks a lot better. It doesn't even look like the same house. This is the kind of property that everyone should have and wants to have. Okay, this photo was one of my cases. This is a property to where it was several owners had I guess crusaded or now deceased, but this property was abandoned for over 1.5 years. Nobody was maintaining it. It was neglected. The roof, you can't see it in this photo, but on the other side of the roof, there was like a 6-foot hole in the roof. The interior of the house was in bad shape. The weather had deteriorated on the walls. The drywall was falling apart. If you look at the exterior of the house, you can tell that the stucco needs to be painted. The roof is bad. It just looks bad. Here's an after picture of the same house. Basically, the house was sold. It went through probate. A new owner had invested a great deal of money, and what they did is they redid the whole house. They refurbished the whole house. They rehabilitated the whole house. They redid the inside. They put in windows. They put in a roof. They repainted it. They did everything to it. It doesn't even look like the same home anymore. Here's another photo, a before photo of a property that has a violation of vegetation. If you look at the front yard, it looks terrible. It looks like a bunch of dirt and weeds. Here's the after photo. If you look at it now, what they did is they replanted new grass. The grass is totally green. You don't really even see any dirt anymore. Nothing was really done to the house, but it was the front yard that made it look so bad. If you look at this photo, it looks like a totally different property. Okay, this is another one of my cases. This was a pool in a backyard. It was a duplex, and this pool, it was just like total algae. I don't think anybody wants to swim in that. Here's an after photo. That's what a pool should look like. Basically, you don't want to let your pool get green like the photo you saw before because it can draw mosquitoes. You can have like Lyme disease. It can draw a bunch of different types of diseases, and it's unhealthy. Okay, here's a photo of a badly maintained property. Basically, our city code states that if you're going to park a vehicle on your property, it has to be on an approved paved surface. This is not an approved paved surface. This is just dead grass and weeds. If you look at the second photo, this is the way a parking area for a vehicle should look. What they did is they re-cemented it. It looks nice. It's all paved. There's no vehicles there right now, but that's the way it should look. Preventing crime in our community involves everyone, the Sheriff's Department, city staff, and officials. And most importantly, Temple City residents. We all work together to reduce crime and improve the overall quality of life. We need to increase safety, increase the quality of life, good school districts, keep our city clean, and higher property values. These are all the elements that we need to work on to make our community safer and create a better quality of life. For the last 5 years, these are the median prices of all the cities in our area in the San Gabriel Valley. In Arcadia, the median price per home is $800,900, and that's due to the larger lot size and the larger homes and living space. Temple City is the median price for a home is $542,000. San Gabriel is $503,100. Alhambra is $406,100. Rosemead is $389,800. El Monte is $308,300. How to contact and notify the city. You can notify the city by phone, email, or in person. City Temple City Hall, Community Preservation Division is at 9701 Los Angeles Drive, Temple City, California. Zip code is 91780. City Hall hours are Monday through Friday from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. City Hall's phone number is 626 area code 285-2171. The Community Preservation Hotline is area code 626. The number is 285-5240. The code enforcement email is codeenforcement@templecity.us. And thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Brian, you want to talk, or do you want me to answer questions? Or?
I'll go through a real quick presentation, and I'll keep it short. I'm going to try and get this done in 7 minutes. How many of you are prepared for a disaster? Who knows, and looking around the room, the Laurel Rascals are, one of them is prepared. Are we all prepared? How many of you can efficiently and honestly say, yes, I am prepared? What if your house looked like that? Who remembers this scene right here? This is from the windstorm in 2011. These are pictures straight from Temple City. This is a perfect example of what we need to do to prepare as a community, as a city, as residents. And one of the things that can be done is to get involved in different programs that the city offers. Would you know what to do in a situation like this? Do you know how to approach that house? What if you have family members trapped in there? Are you going to run in there? Are you going to be able to effectively size up that building to determine if it's safe or not? One of the ways that we do that is through different programs. Now, back in 2010, there was an exercise called the Golden Guardian. It was a statewide exercise to simulate a 7.8 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault. We are, unfortunately, an earthquake country. It's not if, but when we will have a big one. Tonight, we have rains, thunder, lightning. Anything can happen at any time. One of the big disasters that will happen in Southern California is an earthquake. This is something showing that this was done by Caltech. It's a simulation of a 7.8 earthquake starting at the Salton Sea. You'll see the magnitude of the earthquake, the darker red that it is, that's the higher velocity of the earthquake. And you'll see that this duration of this earthquake is something. Whittier earthquake, North River earthquake, Chino Hills, you felt like it was shaking for minutes, but it was actually seconds. Watch the timer on this video real quick. So you see it starts down here at the San Andreas Fault and continues. Again, the red area is some of the intense shaking. The yellow and the white is the very heavy, intense shaking. It's going up, coming to Palm Springs. You can see it's still shaking down at the Salton Sea. When it gets to the San Gabriel Basin in that area, you'll see it start shaking. Right now it's hitting us. It's 1 minute and 17 seconds. You can see it's still shaking down in Salton Sea long before it's gone. Now the structure and the layout of our land, the topography of our land, lends itself to very strenuous shaking. It's going to be something that will shake and continue to shake, and you can see a minute into it, it's still pretty heavy shaking where we're at right now. Okay, this is going 2 minutes into it hitting Temple City and 3 minutes into the earthquake, and there's still some minor shaking. So what you felt during the other earthquakes that we suffered with Northridge, Keno Hills, and the other earthquakes, those pale in comparison to what we can expect on an earthquake on the San Andreas Fault. What can you do? One of the things that we have offered in, it's a national program and we offer it here in the city, is the Community Emergency Response Team program. Who knows what that is? Who knows what the CERT program is? Wow. The CERT program is a program that's designed to engage the citizens of the community. Temple City, we have 4 square miles of city, we have 36,000 plus residents, we have 33 full-time staff. We cannot do everything, we cannot be everywhere if a disaster happens. Right now you call 911, you get the fire department, you get the sheriff's department respond within minutes. You call 911 when we have one of these big earthquakes, you're lucky if you get through, and it may be 3 days, it may be 7 days before they get to you. So you need to prepare yourself to be able to sustain and be self-sufficient in this disaster and be able to take care of yourself, your neighbors, your community. And so you can read it, I'm not going to read verbatim what's on the slide. The program is a 20-hour course. It's approved by the federal government. We do offer the training here, and we're actually hosting one this weekend. And it covers 9 modules: disaster preparedness, disaster fire suppression, utility controls, medical operations 1 and 2. Now this medical operations is not a first aid class. It teaches you some basic first aid, pressure points, bandaging, and stuff like that. But it is mostly a triage class in teaching you how to treat mass casualty incidents. You don't have the time for that one-on-one CPR with someone that is not breathing. If everybody in this room, if this building collapsed, and I as a rescuer came and tried to stop at the first person that I came across, how many other victims do I have in here that I cannot get to? And so it may sound mean, but you want to do the most good for the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time. So if I stop at the first victim that I walk in, I have 60 other people that may die and perish in this building. But if I bypass and assess them as I go on, I may save 40 people already and then continue to be able to come back in and treat those other 20. These are some pictures of a class that we held back in 2012. You can see that it's a hands-on class. Who here has never used a fire extinguisher? Never. Decent amount has, okay. Is the time to use it and learn how to use it when you have a big fire in your house or in your car? No, you don't want to learn how to use it when you really need it. And so it's one of those where you want to practice it and know how to use it before the time really comes that you need it and be comfortable with it. And so that's what we're doing here. These are a couple of our graduating classes. Again, we have some of the members that have graduated. We have a couple of people in the audience here tonight that will be attending our class this upcoming weekend. Like I said, we are holding a CERT class on May 11th, 18th, and 25th. It's a 20-hour course. You must attend all 20 hours to receive a certificate for the class. I still do have seats open, so if anybody is interested in attending the class, I can take your registration today, and the class will begin this Saturday. If you're not interested in attending this class or scheduling does not permit it, I do have an informational flyer that you can take and read up on the program, and then contact me and we can add you to an interest list so that you can sign up for that class at a later date when it is available. After graduating from CERT, there are some different programs that cities train people, train the residents, and then they're on their own. They don't follow up, and that's nothing wrong with that. If me as an emergency manager know that everybody in this room attended CERT training, you can take care of yourself, you can take care of your family, you can take care of your neighbors. It'll be less of a stress and less work for the city that we have to try and take care of others. We have people in the community that can assist that. we are taking the program a step further and designing what we call a CERT call-out team. A CERT call-out team is basically city volunteers that have graduated from a CERT program, and it doesn't have to be from a Temple City CERT program. You get to take in this class in Florida and be part of the CERT program if you live here in Temple City now. And we're going to have ongoing training, quarterly meetings, and we're going to incorporate you into the city's organization for disaster response. You will be sworn in as emergency disaster service workers, and all this is contingent on passing a successful criminal background check and medical screening. You will be sworn in as a disaster service worker, and so there are certain things that you as a CERT member for the city of Temple City can get exposed to, where other people may have to sit on the side. We are going to provide training for emergency operations center training so that you can assist us in that environment. Something maybe shelter operations. Red Cross is very good on providing shelters, but they are a large organization. They still need people to help, and we have a community that can assist in that endeavor. One of the things, again, earthquake country, Temple City. Who here got there or has looked at their Connect magazine from last issue? And this was one of the center infographics on there. Again, this last issue was designed and written to be an emergency preparedness issue. If you didn't receive it or you want additional copies, I do have this flyer printed up so that people can take copies of it. One of the other things that we ask for the community is we have a population that are disabled, that have special needs, that cannot just get up and walk out in certain environments. We don't know where those people are. We do not know where everybody is that we can render aid. Hurricane Katrina, they had people were bedridden that were not known about and they perished in Katrina. So one of the things that LA County and the city is joining their efforts is they have a registry that people can sign up. It's a voluntary registry. It's not something that people are going to get solicited for telemarketing or anything, and it's called SNAP. It's a special needs registry, and so if the disaster happens and we need to reach out to that community, we can engage them and know exactly where they're at, what their disabilities are. If someone's hearing impaired, they're not going to hear the police going down with the sirens on and on the blowhorn. If someone's blind and they can't see, they're not going to see the notice that's hung on their door and be able to read that notice. And so we need to know how to reach out to that community. One of the ways that we're doing that, in addition to this registry, is to work with our faith-based organizations. The churches and the church communities, they know within their congregations who is disabled, who needs that assistance. They're already probably providing some of that assistance with Meals on Wheels or some other programs. Again, emergency preparedness and preparing for disaster is an ongoing thing. Just because you have the earthquake and everybody gets all, you know what, we need to get our first aid kit, we need to get a disaster kit, we need to get this, we need to get everything. And as time goes by and nothing happens, it kind of just falls off the wayside and no one really thinks about it until it happens again. If anybody is interested in preparing their own disaster kit or getting additional information, there are some websites that I listed on the back slide. Those are good sources of information. Those are websites that I go to prepare my information, prepare my handouts and my discussions. And so if anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy. And again, I appreciate your time. We'll go ahead and collect the evaluation forms and pass out those raffle tickets, and then we'll go ahead and raffle those prices off. Thank you.